Good evening. Welcome to Borough Fan TV and the Monday Night Show with me, James Hutchinson. Joining me tonight are Tony Guest, Joe Scott, and we've got Elliot from Bear Pit TV, Bear Pit Fan TV, the Stoke City fan channel. How are we all doing, lads? Okay?
Very well, Matt.
All right, James.
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Well, could be better, but yeah.
We'll get into that in a minute. We won't be too harsh on you, Elliot. Okay, mate.
Okay, sure.
Just to let you know, unfortunately, Gary Hamilton can't join us this week. He will be with us, though, next week, the Borough legend. So Ham will be on next Monday night show. However, there's still plenty for us to talk about this week, everybody. We'll look back at Neil Warnock's first week in charge at the Borough, the timely and crucial victory at Stoke, players leaving the club, ones in particular that's caused a massive stir, which we'll talk about, and I'm sure you, the fans, will want to get involved in. As well as Johnny Howson agreeing a one-year contract extension. And a look ahead to another massive game, a great big 6-pointer ahead on Thursday, tea time, away at Hull City. So as always, Borough fans, this is your show. This is your opportunity to get whatever you want off your chest. And as we like to say, celebrate the fact of your team, and especially after we've had a great 3-point win on Saturday. So lads, without further ado, Tony, there was 6 changes to the team that played against Swansea. What did you read into that?
Well, it's more surprising when you look at that starting 11. You wonder what was going through Woodgate's head for the 11 that he picked the week before, because obviously we're going to talk about it later on. As soon as you seen the team, it was what it just looked positive, James. You just had to look at the front two, and it was positive. And I know we've had Britt and Fletcher allegedly playing together in the past, but it's never ever worked out like that. Fletcher's always ended up out on the left-hand side of the midfield, and really it's a 5-man, 6-man midfield, and Britt usually ploughing away on his own up front. But it was it's nice to see Jed Spence starting. It was nice to see Dale Fry starting on the right-hand side of the defence, which he likes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Still surprised to see George in there, and not the big French lad, you know, but he's only been at the club 2 minutes, so he's gone with a bit of familiarity, a bit of experience when he's picked George, and it was positive. It was nice to see McNair, Saville, you know, like you say, and the bench looked positive with Wing, Tav, and players like that to come on, and it worked for him. It was I was going to say it was a joy to watch. It was still quite painful at times, but it was 3 points. It was 3 points, James. So and we're not going to grumble with that, are we? You know what I mean?
Not at all. I mean, Elliot, just talking about before the game and even the conditions. I think every time I've gone to Stoke, I don't know whether it's where the ground is, but it seems as though the conditions are always a little bit iffy. And that was certainly the case on Saturday. Well, it seemed as though it's like in the middle of a wind tunnel at the Bet365, isn't it?
Yeah, it always is a bit like that. I mean, we have filled one of the corners, so I don't think it's as bad now as it was when we were in the Premiership and we were, destroying teams like Arsenal with the long throw-ins. But there's at Stoke, it's the atmosphere around this sort of game has not been great. Response, obviously, the first half performance is probably the worst performance I think I've seen this season from Stoke personally. This side,
right.
It was that bad, and second half we did really well, and I think you'll agree probably that we did come out second half and we were probably looking like we were going to score. McLean hit the post. McLean also had another shot that the keeper saved, so we were looking as if we were going to break down the door at some stage. But as soon as you scored that second goal, it's the same again. It's deflation, and the players just didn't have what it really took. I think that's just Neil Warnock, really.
Yeah. Joe, it was obviously a bit of an opening 20 minutes. It was a bit bitty, which is understandable when a new manager comes in. But how crucial was it that we got the opening goal through Ashley Fletcher?
It was very crucial. Like I say, first 20 minutes, you could tell we had the better opportunities in that first half. Obviously, no disrespect to Stoke, but they were defensively, poor throughout the entire first half, and you can see all throughout the game we were frustrating Nick Powell at times until eventually he got sent off, and then Fletcher took his opportunity when he did. It was a good good performance as well from Patrick Roberts, we should mention as well, because, you know, I thought he was probably the best game he's played in the Borough shirt so far.
Yeah. And Tony, I think as well, talking about how Warnock set the Borough up, I think you've also got to give him credit to the fact that how we were set up, he forced Stoke into some changes in the first half as well. They made a substitution before half-time. So he got his game plan spot on, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, like I don't know what used lads experience, but the connection and the Wi-Fi of the game on Saturday was absolutely dreadful. And I think I seen about 5 minutes of the first half.
Right.
You know, just because of the connection, it was really poor. Yeah, but like you say, he came in and he said in his press conference he wanted them to go out and just enjoy it and play with a smile. And it looks like they did, like you say. How long have we been waiting for a ball like that to get whipped into the box off Roberts? You know what I mean? The delivery for that goal was absolutely... We haven't seen that this season, even off Lewis Wing. That was absolutely fantastic, you know what I mean? And how we left Fletcher out last week when he's our, you know, he's been our main scorer, our top goal scorer this season, is beyond me, because he took his goal really well, you know what I mean? And obviously... Tav's was just a worldie, you know what I mean? A nice individual goal for Tav.
Yeah.
But like you say, a fantastic ball off Johnny Houston out to him. And we everything that he wanted, basically he got. Do you know what I mean, James? Yeah, there was times, especially in the second half, where we could have defended a bit better, but Stoke, all their chances seem to fall. Their good chances seem to fall to James McLean. And he hit the post, he hit the keeper in his two bob bit. It was absolutely, you know what I mean? He just couldn't hit the back of the net.
Yeah.
And so he's got balls of steel, mate.
I mean, Elliot, I mean, in fairness, like you say, from a Stoke point of view, how do you see things in that your manager had to make changes in the first? It was a big game, irrespective of where the teams are in the league, or definitely taking into consideration where the teams are in the league. It was a big game. Certainly one that you don't expect your team to go into it complacently. But what did you make of that first half performance from Stoke?
Shocking, really. Just absolutely shocking from us personally. I think you came up. I think Warnock's one of those managers. He'll assess the team like what he's doing. That's probably why he took, because, you know, I think you put up saying he's taken training first thing already. I think that's why he's done that, so he can actually say, this is my plan for Stoke. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Like set pieces, for instance, like you look at those. So I think what the second goal was in particular, I think it's just players either playing out position, and you can see that as well. James McLean's not a left back, and we took Bruno Martins Indy off because he wasn't playing well. And then you really put McLean on because he was, you know, he's left foot and he can bomb down the wing if he has to, which is what a left back needs at times. But he's not a left back. He can get turned so easily, and that player turned him. He got time to shoot, and is it Tavernier who scored? Yeah, just down the bottom corner easily. I think it was a shocking performance first half, and I don't think we've ever been as bad as that this season because it's just maybe the lockdowns affected us. I'm not too sure, but we need to pick up points soon. We have to pick up points soon, otherwise we're going to be in there like come to, you know, the end of the month really.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, like Elliot's talking there about some of the defending at Stoke.
Yeah.
What did you make of our defence? I mean, especially on the wings, we had a full-back. We had Marvin Johnson on one side and Jed Spence on the other. What did you make of that decision to go with those two there?
I was a bit surprised that Johnson was in, to be honest, because there was talks linking him with a move to Bulgaria before the game anyways. But he actually put in a decent shift, I think, this past weekend. And like Tony was saying there about McCurdy wasn't starting. I mean, Warnock said in his press conference that he wasn't going to risk players that had quite little knocks at training before we went into the game. So, but I think Friend managed to redeem himself from that whole show against Swansea, and he had a very decent game. And same with all of our back players. So yeah.
Good stuff. And guesty Matthew Groves has made the point here about Dejan Stojanovic in goal. Said he was unbelievable, class performance, as was the whole team. He did make a massive contribution at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah.
Our goalkeeper, yeah.
Yeah. No, he had a good game, didn't he, Tony?
Yeah, like you say, he had a good save off McLean in the first half and the one in the second half. You know what I mean? Just a proper modern day goalkeeper save. You know what I mean? And he did worry me a couple of times on a couple of crosses, but he is very commanding and. Like you say, I think he's our number one, and he has to stay our number one now for a long time because
I agree.
He's our third goalkeeper this season. He's our third keeper. There's not many teams, go through a season using two keepers. He's our third, and hopefully he stays fit and he can stay between the sticks till the end of the season, and hopefully keep pulling the saves off. That's going to keep us up because he is, at the end of the day, he is going to be busy. So he just has to stay on his toes.
Yeah, I agree with Tony there. I think once we sold Randolph off, I think you can tell that Pairs was, obviously he didn't have that big enough stature, like enough bulk to cope between the sticks. So I think the signing of Stojanovic was possibly a blessing in disguise for us.
Mm-hmm. A good point here and a good topic of conversation come up from Keith Short. Stoke's manager stated that they couldn't deal with Borough physically. Did you lads see it like that? Keith thinks he didn't see it that way. Did that come across to you, Elliot, that Stoke struggled with the physicality of the Borough on Saturday?
I think so, yeah. I think the Warnock sides are generally sort of like, well, not like a Pew side. I don't think they sort of play exactly like that, but they're really sort of in your face sort of thing. I don't think we were expecting that at all from them. But yeah, I would agree with that personally. The physicality wasn't great from us. I think the defence is very shaky. I think maybe that's what he was talking about there. Just a bit of a shaky defence. We've got Danny Bart in defence, and I mean, he's played for the Borough in the past, but I don't think he was sort of shaky when you were there, but he certainly has been for us this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also got who else was in there? Go on then, sorry.
Just going to say there, it's a fair point you make, Elliot. I mean, Tony, another thing that Warnock seemed to make a massive difference to was the changes and the timing of the changes. Obviously, the Tavernier one caught everybody's eye because he came on to Robertson, contributed straight away. But he also brought Wing on for McNair, Shotton for Saville towards the end. Just about game management, isn't it really, Tony?
Yeah, sensible. Absolutely sensible. Like, what is he? 72, 71, 72-year-old. 16th, I think we're his 16th club. Okay. So, he's done it God knows how many times over. And like you say, when we've been in dire straits after Karanka and things like that, he's always wanted to manage our club. And now you can see, the experience. And why he never came in earlier is beyond me. I've never, don't get me wrong, I've never been his biggest fan. You know what I mean? I thought him and Pulis were too much like, let's just bang it forward and hope for the best. But obviously there's a different side to him, and he knows how to get teams to play football. Yeah. He knows how to get 3 points. He knows how to keep teams up.
Yeah. And
he knows how to get teams promoted. But whether we'll have him long enough or he'll live long enough for us to get the Borough up.
I mean, Joe, one thing I noticed, and I think it's easy to say when your team's winning 2-0, but as the game progressed, there seemed to be a confidence surging through the team, which we haven't seen a lot this season. And I think even as a fan watching the game, there's not been many times during the course of the season where I've felt at ease with how things are progressing and I've felt comfortable watching a game. Yeah, I felt that way on Saturday. Did you feel the same way yourself?
Oh yeah, it makes a change from the last game against Swansea. You can tell the players felt confident in the way they played, and obviously Warnock gave them the motivation that they were slightly needed. And I think, in my opinion as well, I think when Warnock was sacked by Cardiff back in November, I mean, he could have installed him into the club straight away, but obviously they kept with Woodgate until then. But you can tell, like I say, you can tell, from where he played on the weekend, you can tell that the players want to play for the manager and the club.
Yeah. I've got a couple of questions here for Elliot, actually. There's a few Borough fans with questions here for you, mate. The first one is on about Nick Powell and his stupidity. What I thought was a bit of a bizarre performance all the way through from Nick Powell. He seemed to be rattled from the first half. I don't know what had got into him, but what have Stoke fans made of Powell's performance?
Yeah, they haven't taken it lightly. That's fair. That's fair to say. I think what it was. I think what Nick Powell is. I think he's generally sort of got a fiery character, and I think that's what we were trying to get in. Players who've got a good character, fiery character, want to win. He ticks all those boxes. But for me, I think you could see him, and you could see him, Clucas in particular, just shouting at their teammates because they were so sort of, how do you put it, like. I just didn't just wanted them to improve so much. So it was just like shouting at their performance, like, come on, we need to do better, wake up. And I think he just got frustrated with himself and his teammates, and I think took it out on himself in the heat of the moment of getting booked, really. But yeah, that's a big miss for us. Big miss, because we need him in these games. He's on his day, he's probably our best player, along with Tyrese Campbell. So massive miss for us, particularly for Wigan as well. So a bit selfish in a way, yeah.
Yeah. Matthew Groves, regular contributor to the show, he's just said, Elliot, do you agree? I don't think it was your manager that came out and said this. I think it was Lou Macari's come out and said this today, that he felt that Warnock was to blame for the red card and said that he influenced the referee. Do you agree with that? Or because there wasn't a great deal of time between the first booking and the second one, do you think O'Neill could have took him off or not?
Maybe you could have took him off, but Nick Powell's sort of one of those players who provides creativity to the midfield, and we needed that in particular in that moment. So I wouldn't say should have took him off, but I think, I don't know if that had anything to do with him. It had an effect psychologically.
I think they should have took him off, Elliot. I think he had an opportunity to take him off.
Yeah,
he was a bit niggly in the first start.
Yeah, I think they could have took him off after he got that yellow card, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. I think. Go on.
No, I was just going to say as well.
There was 3 fouls.
Yeah, there was a few fouls.
There was 3 fouls in quick
succession. Yeah.
Got fire attempts.
Should have given him earlier.
Control it.
I mean, overall, Tony, what did you make of the referee's performance? It was a bit strange for both teams, I thought.
Well, we're struggling to get anything on the TV. First half, I was getting messages, and a lot of the lads were complaining about some of the decisions the referee was making. You know what I mean? And what I've seen of him in the second half, like you said, some of the refereeing in the Championship this season, the standards getting lower and lower. It's really poor, and I don't think he's done himself any favours on Saturday. The referee, I thought he was poor.
Yeah.
At the match itself in general, Joe, who were the standout performers for you from a Borough point of view?
From a Borough point of view, I'd probably say Ashley Fletcher, because he's been a nuisance all game for the Stoke defenders, because obviously he got the goal and he was a constant threat in the air. And I think if I had to pick man in the match that game, I would probably have to say Patrick Roberts, to be truthful, because he caused a main threat from like crosses or down the wing, and helping out the strikers. So I'd have to say Patrick Roberts was man of the match for me from the Stoke game.
Great stuff. We're going to have to let you go in a minute, Elliot, I believe. So just one more question before we let you pop off. Obviously, in terms of Stoke, you've got Wigan tomorrow night away, another massive game. What are Stoke fans thinking at the minute about where's the season heading? Do they think they're going to be safe from the drop, or do you think it's going to go right to the wire?
I think personally it'll go right down to the wire. It depends how well we do against Wigan, because like you said, we said, I think it was off camera, 50 points is for the Championship is like staying up. It may be 51 this year, so Stoke basically need to win 2 games and draw 1 game. And I do think personally we have the quality to do that. Nick Powell's really a miss as well. But it depends how well we do against Wigan, because that'll give us some breathing space, particularly for that. We don't want to like put it off until eventually we get to Brentford and Forest on the last day and think, oh God, like we need to win against these 2 sides who are competing for the playoffs. So it's a bit strange, really. I mean, the whole sort of coming down from the Championship as well, it was going to be a massive step, and people didn't realise how big step it was going to be for us. We were favourites to go up, and I think like, I mean, your fans probably slate Pulis as much as Stoke fans do, but one thing Tony Pulis does is he knows how to organise a side.
Yeah.
Like, and I think Neil Warnock's got that with you lot as well, and I think you'll probably benefit from that. With us, it's been we got Mark Hughes in, and I just basically added flair to Pulis' organisation. But as we took players outside, we took Len Whelan, John Walters, these sorts of players out of the team. We could see us start to demise slowly and slowly and slowly, because that's because Pulis' organisation was completely going away. It all culminated together when we got relegated. It's still there sort of today as well with the loan signings, with the loan players as well. So we need to get out of this sort of Hughes role and what Hughes has done for the club at the moment, which is going to be massively, massively difficult over the next few years, really.
Yeah. Elliot, lots of valid points you've made there. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on your show, and thanks for doing the preview for us ahead of the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elliot.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Best of luck with the rest of the season. Okay, pal.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, lads.
Good luck, Elliot.
Cheers.
So, lads, that's the Stoke City view. Obviously, we were delighted with the 3 points at the weekend. And we've had a few people here. Lee Fishers came up with a great point. Thanks for watching the show, Lee. Just said there, massive improvement. Nice to see organisation. Set pieces, we got a goal from one, obviously. We look more balanced throughout. We're obviously talking about the Rudiger Stead situation in a minute. But as everybody said before the game at the weekend, everyone was saying it's about Neil Warnock. Get some organised, and he did exactly what people predicted he would do, didn't he, Tony?
Yeah, like you said, for the Borough, that first goal is crucial, James, in any game. Over the last 3 or 4 seasons, when we've got a goal down, we've struggled to get back into games, and sometimes, even to get a point. So the first goal in any game that the Borough's playing in is massive. So to get that first goal, you know what I mean? They must have went in at half-time, 10 feet top. We could have been out of sight by half-time, James.
Yeah.
The chances that we had, you know what I mean? So, and obviously they've got a manager there now, and he'll already know what type of personalities are in that dressing room. He'll know we can give someone a good blast, and he'll know what to put his arm round, you know what I mean? He'll know he has to take to the side and all that, so... It's good, but it's one win. It's one win out of a massive 8 games, and hopefully that we can continue on the upward curve with this bounce of the new manager and get away from trouble, before the last couple of games against the likes of Bristol, teams like that.
Yeah, it's a fair point, mate. I mean, like I say, it was a great Saturday night for all of us, seeing as though the Borough had won, and it doesn't matter what people say about the style of play or anything. At the end of the day, as a football fan, you want your team to win, and we've not done that often enough this season, so it was a good weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Great weekend.
Looking at Neil Warnock now, lads, I'll start with you, Joe. He made a comment before the game at Stoke of the weekend about the side and the squad lacking leaders. How telling us a comment is that when your manager comes out and says that the squad lacks leaders?
Well, when he came in, we were just low on confidence as it is, and we can tell there wasn't an actual leader in the squad. I mean, most people would look to George Friend, but I don't think he hadn't shown that in recent times. But we haven't seen him most of the season anyway because he was injured. But if I had to pick a leader, when we were under Woodgate, it was Johnny Howson, because he was basically the spine of the team pretty much when Woodgate was in charge. But I think Warnock will have to look for someone to basically now lead the team. I think most people will now probably look going back to George Friend to lead the team.
Right. Tony, do you think it's like a modern football thing that the players maybe just think about themselves rather than what they can bring to the team? Do you think that's a valid point or not?
Yeah, I think that's happening at a lot of teams, James, you know what I mean? Where Arsenal, their manager, the one that got sacked, was, you pick the captain. Man City, I don't think they're that fussed. But when you're down in amongst all the mess at the bottom of the Championship, you do need someone, James, on that pitch, someone in that dressing room apart from the manager, who's going to grab someone or blast someone, back orders out on the pitch, get in people's faces, and we haven't had that. We haven't had that for a long time. I think Ledbetter, he was a great leader, and
he was.
I don't think I don't think George Friend's the type of personality to be doing things like that. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, and I totally get and it's what we've been saying for a long time, that dressing room does lack leadership. And with Warnock being old school, you know what I mean? He'll want a leader in that dressing room. He'll want someone who he can turn around to and say, get in there and get them told before I come in. Do you know what I mean, James? And I don't think there was no one in that dressing room that could do that before Warnock come in. And there still isn't anyone because he hasn't brought no one in. So whether someone grows a pair and takes that role on, you know what I mean? I think every team needs one. And like you say, all the great teams in the past, your Roy Keanes, your Graham Souness, all these great teams have had someone who can dig on the pitch and dig in the dressing room as well.
Definitely.
And we definitely need something like that.
Yeah, I think that's something he's going to have to address in the summer if he's here or whoever does come in. I definitely think that's one side of the squad that definitely needs looking at. I mean, Dave Richardson, the regular viewer, big Borough fan, he's thrilled with the appointment of Warnock, and also the performance was much better. However, he feels as though we have to improve even further against the likes of Cardiff and Sheffield, but he's optimistic we can stay up. What do you reckon, Joe? Do you think there's still room for improvement from the Borough?
I think obviously we need to improve our killer instinct for the goal, even though we got the 2 goals against Stoke. There's still room for improvement in terms of we can actually get more and ask one of the midfielders to go, Wing or McNair, etc. So there is we can probably improve more on the killer instinct going towards goal, I think.
Yeah, fair point. Yusuf, big Borough fan down south.
Yusuf,
a short-term solution. Thanks for watching, Yusuf. However, I think we need to look at the next manager from now. Our 2 most recent successful managers have been McLaren and Karanka, who were very good projects. We need to appoint a similar type of manager with a project and a clear plan. And that's been a criticism that's been levelled at the club. It seems as though they have had a plan or an idea of what they're going to do, and then they've tore it up within 6 months, 9 months, a year later, and we go from one extreme to the other. I mean, first of all, would you like to see Warnock, Tony, get the job on a permanent basis, or do you think his age will count against him?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of Borough fans who'd like to see him stay. Maybe 1 or 2 seasons if we stay up. I'm going to add back to what I said last week. I think a lot of these problems with these managers coming in are a lot of blame gets pointed at Steve Gibson, but Steve Gibson pays advisors and people around him to help him make these decisions. And I think these people around Steve Gibson, the advice that they're giving him and the decisions they're making has been totally wrong for the club. I think he has the wrong people in the club with him. Mm-hmm. But we like you say what Yusuf just said. I think Monk was going to be a long-term project, and that never lasted long. Woodgate, I think he was definitely going to be a long-term project. I don't think anyone in the club expected us to be in this position with Woodgate as manager, but he did inherit a lot of problems from what Pulis left. Obviously, we said signings which he made in the summer were poor. The players that left, and he was left to do it on a shoestring. I don't believe he was the cheap option. He was a local lad, and he loved the Borough, and he had a chance to manage the Borough, and he wasn't going to turn it down, was he? You know what I mean? No. And the tools that he started with weren't good enough. You know what I mean? And we've had 7 players in the last year of their contract with Woodgate as manager, and that must have been difficult for the lad to get a tune out of them 7 players. You know what I mean, James?
Yeah, no, it certainly hasn't helped the situation. One of the players that's in on loan at the minute is Patrick Roberts, as we mentioned earlier on. And Lee Fisher, another huge Borough fan, said he spoke about Neil Warnock's comments after the game, saying that he got frustrated at times when he was holding onto the ball a bit too much. Lee said he doesn't mind him doing that as long as he's not causing us problems in our own half. Is it one of those things, Joe, that you just got to take the rough with the smooth a little bit with Patrick Roberts? I mean, as you said, he probably had his best performance so far in a Borough shirt, and there's times where he's maybe going to hold onto the ball too much and lose it. but for the creative spark he brings to our team, you've just got to put up with that, haven't you?
Yeah, especially when there was points in the season, where we had no support literally for our strikers at all. So we need players like Roberts who can basically help the strikers in the long run going in for these last 7 or 8 games. So, I mean, obviously, because he had that injury after his last couple of starts for us, but I think once he got past fit again, he can definitely show he can be more a valuable asset to us until the end of this current season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point, mate. I mean, Tony, we've put it off for long enough. We can't leave it any longer. The other big news at the weekend wasn't just the fact that Borough got 3 points and won at Stoke. It's the Rudiger Stead saga. I mean, what did you make of that? It seems to have been a universally popular outcome, but what was your take on it all?
Do you know when that picture was released of him talking over the fence to Warnock?
Yeah. And
it was going around social media, and that was a first thing that came into my head. I was thinking, he's telling him where to get off of here. You know what I mean? And then obviously he chased him on Thursday. It wasn't announced till an hour before kickoff on Saturday. So he's come in, Warnock, and he's watched. He came in Tuesday. He took training Tuesday, I believe, and Wednesday. And he's seen right through him straight away. You know what I mean? And what is bugging me is why he was allowed to play against Swansea, but we'll never know. That was Woodgate's choice, you know what I mean? And
I mean,
he's took the piss while he's been here, basically. Sorry for swearing.
No, mate, do you know what? I think part of the thing is as well, it needs someone like Warnock to do this, because I think at his age, Warnock, he's got an attitude of, well, you know what, I'm not bothered if I upset people here. This is what I'm going to do. Whereas I think Woodgate, for all of his standing in the game and what he's achieved as a player, he's a new manager. He's a rookie manager. He's learning the ropes. So he maybe doesn't feel as though he can approach things the way that someone like Warnock can.
Yeah.
What
I like about Warnock as well, because he's always honest about his opinion. And, you know, my opinion on the whole Gusted situation, when I saw the lineup for the Stoke game, I couldn't see Gusted in the squad anyway until about, say, 5 or 10 minutes later, we discovered that he's been released. So I thought, at least Warnock's got his honest opinion of getting rid of all the garbage out of the club and bringing the confidence level up a gear. And I think that's what that will help us get through the situation that we're currently in.
Yeah, that's a good
point.
What
we were led to believe during lockdown was these 7 players who were out of contract. Now, did I dream it, or have we discussed it on here, that them 7 players were supposed to have signed short-term contracts to the end of the season under Woodgate before we even started kicking the ball again? Am I right, or was I dreaming that?
I think they mentioned that they were close to getting them all sorted, but then it turns out that wasn't the case, was it? I think I don't know if
because it's like
they all agreed.
Yeah, I knew that about Howson, Friend, and Clayton were on about getting the contracts extended, but I didn't even know about the one involving Ryan Shotton.
Yeah. And I mean, just talking about Johnny Howson there, how influential a part do you think then Neil Warnock arriving has played in him signing a 1-year extension, Tony?
I think he's gone straight into Gibson and said, "You've got to sign him for another year."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't have him. You know what I mean? You can't be messing about with him. Get him signed now. You know what I mean? And I think Warnock will make his judgments on. I think he'll assess the other 5, the other 4. Is it 4 now? Because we've lost 2.
Yeah.
So he'll assess the other 4 while he's here, and like you say, he'll pass that on to Gibson, and you know, it's up to them. It's up to them whether they want to stay or, you know, whether they have got other irons in the fire. It would be sad to see Marvin Johnson go, because, like you say, I think he gives everything every game for the Borough, Johnson. So if Johnson and Howson, obviously the other one we wanted to stay was Ayala, but he's left now. Can't fault the other 2 for the commitment and the loyalty what they give the club, Clayton and Friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it'd be sad to see Friend go, but you know,
Everyone
like-
reaches
it's
their
like-
end of the time, don't they, Tony?
Yeah, it's like getting rid of your old dog, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's got to go someday or the other.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to go.
Like the story of all the Ella. Yeah, when you take the horse behind the barn and then pull the trigger. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I'll start with you, Joe, just before we move off the Neil Warnock situation. What's your gut feeling? I'll ask you first, Joe, then I'll come to Guesty. What's your gut feeling? Do you think he is here just for the 8 games to keep us up? Or do you think him and his management team will be here at the start next season? Because bear in mind, the season's probably going to start in September, so it's not that far away anyway. What do you reckon, Joe?
Well, I did say at the start of the season, obviously, when Warnock was at Cardiff, that this was going to be his last hurrah as a manager. But, obviously, when he left Cardiff back in November, and then obviously he came to us, I think he said in his first press conference that he didn't deny or wouldn't want to admit that he would have wanted to go on for another season. So, personally, for myself as a Borough fan, I would like to give him at least another year contract, like to see if he can get us up for the season after.
So that'll be some transformation that then, Guesty, wanted to go from, say, relegation battle, which to be honest, we've been in all season this year, to if there's a new manager in charge to go for a promotion push next year. Do you think he could do that?
And anything's possible in the Championship, James. I remember the season Crystal Palace were in the bottom 3 and they ended up getting promoted. They were in the bottom 3 at Christmas.
Yeah.
And they went on a crazy run and ended up getting promoted. So anything's possible. Warnock, he did say in his press conference on Saturday that he was here to enjoy it. You know what I mean? He's always wanted to work with Gibbo. I've got the feeling we've been down this road before with Terry Venables when he came in, Brian Robson, and he kept us up. And then he went off to do his telly work because that was more lucrative rather than stay at the Borough. But, yeah, I'd like to see him stay till... We thought we'd get something like this with Pulis. I think Pulis was involved in Woodgate getting the job with his advice, which he gave to Gibson. Maybe his Warnock can stay and, pass his advice, pass his experience on to Gibson to get someone in who will move the club forward, who will stay at the club 3, 4, 5 seasons, like Karanka did to get us out of this division. But it's going to be a big ask now, obviously, further down the line. Money's going to be even tighter now after COVID, or like you say, we're still in COVID. Money's going to be really difficult for clubs. So if someone can come in and make the players gel and get lucky and get out of the league, fair enough. But if Warnock stays till Christmas, James, I think we'll have done well out of him. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I honestly my gut feeling is he's only here till the end of this season.
Yeah, I think Ray Oggy agrees with you. Thanks for watching, Ray. He said he's 71. I don't think he's interested. He's defo just in to help Gibbo, and if he does that, thanks to him. And at the end of the day, it's not a small task he's been set here to keep us up in the Championship, because it's vital that we stay in this league for next season, isn't it? So if he was to walk out after doing the 8 games and keeping us up, I don't think Borough fans can have any grumbles at all, can they, Joe?
No, definitely not. I think if you look at the bright side of it, if he does keep us up, and then obviously he ends up going, if you do need a new manager, we need one kind of similar to him, but a bit more with a bit of experience, I mean, I don't think Jukanovic was still looking available at the minute, but if we do go with someone like him, for example, anything could be possible really for the Borough.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to money, as Tony said there. I think the club doesn't have a massive war chest to be spending on managers, management team, players and stuff like that. It's going to have to be cut your cloth to suit what you've got type thing. And I think that's one thought that's come to my mind. Jonathan Woodgate's still involved in the club. Do you think there's any chance that he could be coming back as a manager or anything like that? Do you think he may be coming back next season, Tony?
And anything's possible, whether he's just told him to stand back and have a look and see how things are done properly, I don't know. Or whether, get these influences away from the dressing room who's most probably been undermining Woodgate's decisions and selections. You know what I mean? Get them out the club and see where Woodgate goes there. But I don't think I think it'd be uproar in the stands, James, if he came back as manager.
If he did come back,
Would be no
well,
point.
It wouldn't fill you with confidence. Definitely not.
Oh, go on, Joe.
It'd be nice, like you say, it'd be nice if he stays at the club in some other capacity, James. You know what I mean? But
I agree.
Just keep him out the changing room.
Yeah, I think he had a scouting role before he came back to us, wasn't he? At Liverpool, at a scouting role or something like that.
Yeah. He was their youth scout, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised it was like a scouting role for the Borough, I think.
And I think that might be a role that suits him best. Peter McDermott, thanks for watching, Mac. He's got in touch with us. He said, Warnock does a great job, retires. I hope he can point Gibbo in the right managerial decision concerning a new replacement. And like you say, I think he knows football inside out, Warnock, and I think he'll be able to identify what we need, type of players, and possibly which manager can best step into his shoes and take us forward next season, hopefully, lads.
Yeah, that you know what I mean. Hopefully, that's Gibbo's plan and not ours.
Yeah. Anyway, big game ahead of us on Thursday. We've got Hull City. It's another 6-pointer. Go to the K-Comp. What are you expecting, Joe?
Well, on paper, you would expect to have an easy result, but Hull really pushed Birmingham to the limit in their last game. So that's we've got to be mindful for, because they were an unpredictable team, I think, at most times, that Hull. As I showed on the weekend, and obviously they're playing the same kind of system as us as well, like with three midfield and three in the forward line. And the three in the forward line in particular, you obviously got James Scott on the left, you've got Josh McGuinness as the central striker, and then obviously you got Malik Wilkes on the right hand side. I can see them giving us a threat, I think, this Thursday.
Yeah. And Tony, I mean, Hull have got 3 points from the last 13 games. Do you think there's a bit of a danger that people are going to get carried away after we've won at Stoke at the weekend and think, it's a formality going to Hull? We're in a bit of a crisis at the moment on and off the pitch. But do you think it's a bit of a dangerous game for us on Thursday, that people are going to expect us to get 3 points dead easy?
Yeah, and it's, like you said, Hull seem to have lost the fight when they lost their Bowen and the other lad, I can't think of his name.
Grzycki.
When he lost the Grzycki, them two players. When they were at the Riverside, them two players dragged Luton back into it. Well, not so much Grzycki, but the young what's he called again? Bowen or Bowden?
Yeah. Jim Bowen.
Yeah. And I've said it once. Look what you would have won.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult, James. You know what I mean? We've got to keep our feet on the floor now as players and as fans, and go there, be positive, and like Warnock wants them to do, run through brick walls with the Borough and come back with a result, because Wigan are pulling away. Wigan won again, a shock result against Blackburn. We need to keep on their shirt tails, and if teams are winning in and around us, it either drags us back down or back down onto the same points. And we don't want to be going into the last couple of games wanting 4 points to stay up, James. We need to get as many points on the board as possible.
Yeah.
And as in Germany, it looks like it's happening here in the Championship. Teams are winning more away from home than what they are at home by the looks of it. So hopefully it's an advantage to us playing away from home. But the lads have to do it for another 90 minutes. We have to defend a lot better, and we have to start and take our chances and put teams to bed. Do you know what I mean, James? I know Saturday ended up comfortable, but 5-10 minutes to start the second half, I was, you know what I mean, I was watching through my fingers the amount of chances Stoke would have.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can go there, get another 3 points and keep the momentum going, because it's massive at this time of the season, James.
It is. No, you're right. And like you say, we want to get to 50-51 points as soon as possible. But like you said, Joe, I mean, they got 3 goals at Birmingham on Saturday. Hull, and funnily enough, like Tony's alluded to there about no crowds in the grounds, it might actually work the Hull's favour, but playing at home and having no crowd in there on Thursday, it's still going to be a really tough game for us. And I think we're fortunate we've got Warnock in charge. I don't think he'll let any complacency set in, but it's still a huge game, isn't it?
It's huge. You've got to think though, obviously this and then Sunday when we got QPR at the Riverside, I think those games could determine our place in the league, basically. I think if we win those games, and then I'd say grab a point the game after that away at Millwall, I think that's us safely up, I think, for this season. But we've got to take one game at a time, like I said. But like Hull's going to be a tough game, no matter which league we're in or what position we're in. We can't take them lightly, even with or without a crowd being there.
Good point. Right then, lads, time to put you down on the chopping block. What's the score going to be on Thursday? Joe, you can have first score, mate.
It's going to be a tough game, but I'll probably stick to what I predicted against Stoke, and obviously I was 1 goal out. I'm going to go with 2-1 to the Borough, with Roberts and Fletcher getting the goals.
Hope you're right, pal. Go on, Guesty.
I think I will keep it. You know what I mean? If he doesn't tuck his bits and pieces in, I think he'll keep another clean sheet. I'm going for a 2-0 win, James, hopefully.
2-0. I like that, Matthew. I like you. You're quite right there. There's not many old fans in there. I think they get more in there for the rugby league at the minute than they do for the football team. But
they've had it rough for the last couple of years. Now, one of their owners are just absolutely taking the piss out of them for fans. You know what I mean? And it's out of order.
Yeah. All joking aside,
I mean?
it's a shocking way to run a club. How they've things have gone on down there. It is. You're right.
Yeah.
So you can tell a couple of years ago, when they went to Wembley for the playoff final. I can't remember their end of their stadium being full. I mean, they took about like half a majority of the one end of Wembley, didn't they? Yeah.
It just shows the difference a week makes. Everybody's predicting Borough wins, are you more or less? The only one that isn't is Chris. And I'll be honest, I'd go with Chrissy. I think it may be a draw Thursday. And to be honest, if you get 4 points from 2 away games under normal circumstances, that's brilliant. But it's I think the main thing is not to get beat on Thursday, isn't it? Just to keep Hull away from us and just keep picking up points. But yeah, I'm sure you lads agree. We're all a lot more optimistic and more hopeful that we're going to stay up now, aren't we?
All right.
Like you say, these last 7 games, the first goal in any Borough game is the most important goal it's the most important goal in any game. But with a Borough, if we go goal down, we're gonna. I've been saying it for years. We're going to struggle. So hopefully we can keep our goal intact and nick a goal at the other end like we did on Saturday. Then go on from there.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah. Well, lads, I'm afraid we're out of time. We've reached the end of tonight's show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for everybody watching out there and for all your contributions. As always, you make the show, Borough fans. Just giving a shout out to the AFL Championship banter page if you want to check that out. That's always a good page for stuff going on in and around the Championship. Please don't forget, as always, to like and subscribe to Borough Fan TV. And keep an eye out this week. As Joe's mentioned, there's 2 games this week. We've got Hull on Thursday and then QPR visit the Riverside next Sunday. So there's loads going on. There'll be loads on the Borough Fan TV page. Lots to keep you entertained throughout the week. So until next week when we have Gary Hamilton on the show, from myself, Guesty and Joe, Red and White, you and me, Monday at 6, Borough Fan TV. All the best and up the Borough.
Up the Borough.
Up the Borough.